Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. We've got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, folks, we got portal chaos. It's really getting crazy out there. Tyler Barron has chosen a home. We've also got the #1 tight end in the portal. He's made his choice. And, of course, we're going to talk about the insanity in Georgia. They are losing so many big-time blue-chip players. It's unreal. I've never seen this many 5-stars leave one team and enter the portal. It's kind of shocking. And maybe it's just because they have so many great players, or maybe there's something going on down there. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And then, of course, Dylan Raiola, we know about that situation. So things are getting a little bit crazy in Georgia. Now, sorry this is coming out a little bit late, but it's the weekend. You know, I've got to work many of these weekends. I was just stuck at work.
Well, the world needs ditch diggers, too.
But so be it. I'm going to put a show out anyway. And this came out yesterday. Highly touted Notre Dame tight end. And this is on Rocky Top Insider by Ryan Schubert. He's committed to Tennessee, and Tennessee really needed another tight end. We've got Ethan Davis, who's quite a good recruit, and this will be his second year, but we needed somebody along with him. And this Holden Stace guy, and he was the #1 rated tight end in the portal, committed on Friday night, and he picked us over Georgia, Oklahoma, and Washington. He is a sophomore, so he's got several years of eligibility left, and he's a big dude. He's 6'4", 242 pounds, which is really ideal size for us. We need a guy that not only can catch the ball, but also can block because, as you know, running is very important to our team. Now, with Nico coming on board next year, I think we'll throw the ball a little bit more than we did this year. But look, Heupel's offense requires good running of the ball, and having a big tight end helps a bunch. It also will help protect Nico. Now, last year, we were great at running the ball. We were #1 in the SEC for most of the year. I think we finished second. And that's because our offensive line was solid and we had great running backs like Jalen Wright, who's going to the NFL. Now, most of our offensive line's coming back, which is fantastic. Cooper Mays is coming back. We just found out. Really, it's our almost entire offensive line. We're waiting, I believe, on Spraggins, but it appears he may be coming back. We may have our entire offensive line available to us, which will be fantastic. And defensive line as well. Now, we will be covering, we did lose one key player, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But as far as offensive line, defensive line, we're in great shape, and we're getting back most all of our players. So we were great on defensive line as well. We stopped the rush beautifully. We put a lot of pressure on the quarterback with James Pierce and another individual we're going to talk about again. But we're bringing back almost everybody, including Omari Thomas. I mean, a lot of these big-time players.
We're putting the band back together.
So I feel great about the lines of scrimmage, but we did get rid of almost our entire secondary, which was our weak link. So before anybody goes in the comments section, what are we going to do? We've lost all. These are probably the same people that were mad the entire year saying, hey, this secondary is no good. Well, they're literally replacing the entire secondary. And we've got plenty of 4-stars that are ready to play, and you'll see them in the bowl game. But this is a great get for the Vols. And we do have a loss in Tyler Barron. He announced transfer destination. He is going to Ole Miss. This is on VolQuest by Eric Kane. It says Tyler Barron, he entered the transfer portal. We've been talking a lot about him. So he has committed to Lane Kiffin and also to Marion McDonald's, also going to Ole Miss. So two Tennessee players that played quite a bit last year are heading to Ole Miss. And Ole Miss likes to use the transfer portal. If you've kept up with their recruiting, they're not that big on recruiting, but they love the transfer portal. And I think that's just a philosophy by Lane Kiffin. He'd rather go in there rather than having to do the hard work of recruiting. And you'll see where they're ranked. Ole Miss is ranked 20th, and they've only got, they got about 18 players that they've got committed, or I'm sorry, 19 it says. I guess they have a 2-star that must be committed. But they're at an 89 average, just below 90. That's not that good for the SEC. That would be good if you were in the ACC.
How dare you!
But as you can see, there's a lot of teams ahead of them. They're in the SEC. See, we're at almost, 91.62. We're 2 points ahead of them, which is quite a bit with our 19 commits. But our level of quality is considerably higher. 2 5-stars, 11 4-stars, and only 6 3-stars. So Lane makes up for it in the transfer portal. And he's been doing that. He did that last year as well. It's worked out good for him. He went 10-2. He's had a lot of success going that route. There's even talk of them picking up Walter Nolan, which would surprise the crap out of me. But they're also looking to pick up the edge rusher, Princely, out of Florida. So Ole Miss is doing a lot of hard work in the transfer portal, and they want some guys that can help them right away. Now we're going to talk about the Georgia Bulldogs. I don't know what the crap's going on down there, but they have had a ton of people enter the portal, and maybe it's because the last 2 years they've been in the playoffs, so, normally guys stick around. But now that they're not, and they're just going to the Orange Bowl, which is still a great bowl, but for them it's a huge letdown. They got a ton of 5-stars leaving. And it's kind of shocking, really. And here's SI, Dan Lyons, says Georgia's great. Aaron Murray sounds alarm on program's transfer portal losses. Says Georgia has seen an exodus of players seeking to transfer elsewhere. As of Friday, 17 players are in the portal. Linebacker Johnson and cornerback Harris, who were big-time recruits, they're in the portal. And Aaron Murray said on Twitter, he said, I don't know if I've ever seen this many five-stars leave a program before. He says, what in the world is happening in Athens? These top recruits not liking all the competition? Question mark.
Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
And, of course, we know Brock Vandagriff. That made perfect sense. He needed to leave. He was sitting on the bench. He's going to start at Kentucky. Talking about defensive lineman Jefferson's going to SMU. But the thing that's got him really upset is Dylan Raiola. The top-ranked player in the class has caused some consternation. I'd say he has. And it looks like he's actually in Nebraska right now. And the word is he's going to flip to Nebraska. It's almost a done deal. So they're really struggling. And I'm going to show you this list, and it's going to surprise you. This is on X or Twitter, College Football Report. Here are the number of five-stars they've got in the transfer portal. Number 1 is Brock Vandagriff. Number 2 is Edge Marvin Jones Jr., the third five-star is A.J. Harris, a cornerback, another quarterback, Nyland Green, another five-star linebacker, Xavier Sori, and these are a bunch of starters too. So it's not like they're not getting plenty of playing time. Then a ton of four-stars. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 four-stars. 8 four-stars and 5 five-stars. That's an entire class and a great class. Any team in the country would like to have a class like that. I don't know what's going on in Georgia. It's shocking. Now, if there's a team that can handle it, it's Georgia. I'm not saying they're not going to be any good anymore. That'll never be the case. Look, they've got more talent they know what to do with. But here's the beautiful thing about the transfer portal. For those of you that don't like it, think about it this way. What it does, it spreads the wealth. A guy like Brock Vandagriff's not going to be stuck on the bench being forced to stay there because if he transfers somewhere, he's got to sit out a year. That's no longer the case. Plus, he's getting paid. Look at all these five-stars. They want to get some Benjamins, and they're not getting enough in Georgia, or who knows. Maybe they're not getting the playing time they want or something along those lines, although many of those are starters. So it could be money. It could be a whole host of different things like that. But what it's doing, the transfer portal and NIL, is it's spreading the wealth. You're not going to have 1 or 2 teams that literally bring in all the talent, hold on to it, put a bunch of it on the bench. That way, if they ever need somebody, they can just pull another five-star. Those days are going away. That's great for the middle teams. All the teams that aren't on the very, very top are now going to rise, and those top ones are going to pull down. And we're going to get a lot more competition in college football, which is great for college football. It's great for fans. And we got the 12-team playoff next year, which means a ton of teams are going to be going crazy. 12 fan bases are going to be out of their mind. It's going to be fantastic. I think 2024 is going to be probably the most exciting college football season that we've ever seen in our lifetimes because we've never had a true playoff, which is what we will now have. Transfer portal, NIL, making everything more competitive so 1 or 2 teams don't completely dominate. I mean, when you're losing 5 five-stars and 9 four-stars, I don't care how good you are, that is going to impact you. Similar things are happening at Alabama. Ohio State's losing a bunch of high-quality players, that many of which were riding the bench. And they're going to go where they're going to get to play. So this is a very exciting time in college football. I know not everybody likes it. I understand that. We've got some folks that, they like it the old way.
I'm a grumpy old man. I don't like everything the way it is now compared to the way it used to be.
And I'm all for tradition. I like that too. But not when the competition gets destroyed and you only have a few haves and a ton of have-nots. I don't like that. The NFL has done a beautiful job of making sure every team has a chance, and that keeps all your fan bases really excited. And there's nothing more successful than NFL football. I mean, if you look at their viewership, it's through the roof. The second is college football, and it's only going to get more exciting. Instead of having these useless bowl games that nobody cares about except their most diehard fan base, now you're going to have literally all those playoff games that everybody's going to watch. I mean, I'll watch every single one of them. You can count on that. That's guaranteed, whereas I don't do that with bowl games. So anyway, I'm real excited about next year, and it's going to be something else. So I did want to cover all this portal chaos, and it's just going to get wilder. And a lot of positive things are going to be coming our way for the Vols, and a lot of other teams too are going to be picking up some great players. So just a lot of excitement, and Georgia will too. Do not feel sorry for Georgia for even a second. They will be fine. I promise you. They got great coaching, great recruiting. I wish they weren't so good, but they just are. It's a fact. But it is nice to see that the wealth is being spread out a little bit. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the NCAA, SEC, of course, my Vols, and just everything that's going on. And if you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Just hit this little button. I would appreciate it. Doesn't cost you anything. I'm getting a ton of new viewers, but a bunch of you aren't subscribing. It's kind of weird. Like I'm getting more views than I have subscribers, but only 30% of you are subscribing.
I'm not going to beg you. My track record speaks for itself.
Can we stop this cruel game and allow the boy to keep one shred of dignity?
So we need to get that up. An average YouTube person gets about 50%. I'm at 30. I know a lot of you are new, so I'm not getting on you, but it doesn't cost you anything. And right over here is most recent video. YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.